Well, there's a wide diversity of opinion about our president, but there's one thing that we all agree on. Donald Trump loves Twitter. And if you work for Donald Trump, I'm sure you get extra bonus points if you help feed his Twitter feed. That's exactly what's going on in today's gospel. Jesus is using controversial figure to get a point across. He's already in his gospel talked about how we need to emulate the craftiness and ingeniousness and tenacity of a thief when we're pursuing the kingdom of heaven, which scratches our head enough. But today he goes even further and says the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a harsh master, who reaps where he doesn't sow and gathers what he did not plant. So that really makes us scratch our heads. What in the world is Jesus talking about? Well, he's using this story to get our attention. So what is it that he's trying to tell us? Well, first of all, everything in this story is an extreme. A talent is 20 years worth of wages. So a person being given 5 talents, that first slave got a century's worth of wages. The second slave got 40 years worth of wages, and the third slave got 20 years worth of wages. And the master distributes his entire assets, all of this wealth, to these slaves. And he says, "Make me some money. I'm going off." Now, the first 2 slaves understand that their master is a harsh man. They understand that he is a brutal capitalist, and all he wants is for them to make money. He doesn't care how they make it. He doesn't care what they do to get that money, but they darn well better make a lot. So the first 2, learning from their master, understanding his character, understanding exactly who he is and what he is and how he is, they use his methodology. They use what they've seen. They copy him, and they make a bunch of money. The first one doubles it, 5 to 10. So now we have 200 years worth of daily wages. The second one doubles it. Now we have 40 years of daily wages. But the third one is scared. He's scared to take a risk. So he buries it in the ground because he knows, at least by following that common practice of the day, burying it in a place where no one else knows, when the master comes back, he can dig it up and give it back to him. And we know this story is extremes because when that servant, that slave, gives back the 20 years worth of wages, the master says, "You should have at least taken it to the bank and got me interest." Well, every Jewish person knows that interest is against the law in Judaism. So we know this man is crooked. We know this man doesn't care about anything except making money. Jesus says, "Do this." What? Do this. What do you mean, Jesus? Do this. I don't get it. What Jesus is telling us is, if we want to understand the kingdom of heaven, we need to understand the character of the master we serve. And if we understand the character of the master we serve, then we should copy that, emulate that, with the kind of tenacity that these slaves emulated the character of a dishonest, greedy capitalist. And what is the characteristic of God? Justice, mercy, compassion, generosity, faithfulness. Moving out into a world and transforming it from darkness to light. If we want to be in the kingdom of God, we need to understand the master. And like those first 2 slaves, copy the master, be empowered by the master, allow the master to shape and form our thinking so that we look like him We act like him. We model him. The generosity and love and faithfulness and mercy and sacrificial self-offering that Jesus modeled for us ultimately on the cross. Jesus uses this controversial man, this harsh master, to help us understand that the key to the kingdom of God is understanding who the master is, what the master is like, and giving the master back what the master has given us. Jesus says, go and do likewise.